Welcome to Developer Roadmaps. Today, we're going to chart a course through Tailwind CSS. It's a utility-first framework that has honestly exploded in popularity, and it's really changed how a lot of us think about styling. We're going to explore why that is and how it actually works.
Rapidly build modern websites without ever leaving your HTML. This quote, right from their website, it really gets to the heart of what Tailwind promises. It's all about moving fast and keeping your styles right there with your markup. So let's dig into how it actually makes that happen.
All right, here's our map for the journey today. We're going to start with the big idea, the why behind Tailwind. Then we'll see it in action, looking at things like responsive design. After that, we'll hit some more advanced topics, customization, optimization, and a really important one, the trade-offs of using @apply. And finally, we'll figure out if Tailwind is the right destination for your next project.
Okay, first up, what is Tailwind CSS really? To get it, you kind of have to shift your thinking, and this is the first major checkpoint on our roadmap, moving away from the component-based approach that a lot of us grew up with. So this idea of utility-first CSS, what does that even mean? Well, it's a philosophy where you build everything by piecing together these small, single-purpose classes right in your HTML. So instead of grabbing a pre-made .card class, you build the card yourself with utilities like P4 for padding, rounded LG for the corners, and shadow MD for, well, the shadow.
And this slide just lays out the difference perfectly. A traditional framework like Bootstrap gives you these pre-built components, right? Like .btn primary. It's a high-level, opinionated thing. Tailwind, on the other hand, gives you the tiny, unopinionated building blocks. The BG Blue 500, the font bold, all of it. This gives you total, low-level control to build literally anything you can imagine.
Okay, enough theory, let's get practical and see how this whole thing actually works. We're going to style a simple button, and we're not going to write a single line of our own CSS. It's all going to happen right in the HTML.
So, we start with just a plain HTML button. Step 1, we add spacing and shape with PY2PX4 rounded LG. That gives us some padding on the top and bottom, some on the sides, and nice rounded corners. Step 2, let's add some color with BG Blue 500 and text white. Easy enough? Step 3, let's tweak the font with font bold, uppercase, tracking wide. And for the final touch, step 4, a little shadow MD. See? Every class does one tiny thing, and you just compose them together to make a completely custom design.
You know, modern design isn't just a static picture. It has to adapt. So a really key part of our roadmap is understanding how Tailwind handles different screen sizes and user interactions, like hovering over something. This is where it really starts to feel like a superpower.
Now, this is a core philosophy you've got to understand about Tailwind. It's mobile first. Think of this as a crucial checkpoint. Any utility class without a prefix, like text center, applies everywhere, on all screens. Then you use prefixes like MD text left to add changes only for medium screens and up. It's a really smart way to build a responsive site from the very beginning. And here are the standard breakpoints that come right out of the box. You've got SM for small screens, MD for medium, and so on, all the way up to 2XL. So if you want something to happen only on large screens, you just add that LG prefix. For example, LG Flex will only apply display flex on large screens and above. It's super intuitive.
And handling states, like when a user hovers over something, it's pretty much the same deal. You use these state variants, like hover, focus, or even dark for dark mode. So hover, BG-blue-700 will change the button's background when you hover. You can even chain these together, which is really cool. All that styling logic lives right there on the element.
Okay, so a big question people always have is, wait a minute, with all these classes, am I going to ship a giant CSS file? It's a fair question. Let's put optimization on our roadmap and see how Tailwind makes sure your final product is actually incredibly small.
Well, the magic trick here is something called the Just-in-Time Compiler, or JIT for short. See, Tailwind isn't just one big static library. Instead, the JIT compiler scans all of your files, your HTML, your JavaScript, everything, and it looks for every single class name you've used. Then, it generates a CSS file with only the styles you actually need. And what's the result of all that magic? This. Because every single unused style gets automatically thrown out, the final CSS file for most projects is ridiculously small. We're talking less than 10 kilobytes typically. You only ship what you use. It's awesome. And you're not stuck with the default settings either. There's a file called tailwind.config.js, and that's basically your command center. In there, you can customize everything, your color palette, your spacing units, your breakpoints, and create your own consistent, totally unique design system for your project.
All right, let's tackle a more advanced checkpoint on our journey. It's something that comes up a lot when you're starting out. What happens if your HTML starts looking kind of messy with these long strings of classes?
And that leads to the question we all ask at some point, but what about the messy HTML? Can I just wrap all these classes up into a single component class, like .btn? And the answer is yes, you can. Tailwind gives you a way to do this with a directive called @apply.
So let's compare these two paths side by side. On the left, you've got the pure utility-first approach, where everything is right there in the HTML. On the right, we've used @apply to bundle all those utilities into a .btn class. Now, the HTML definitely looks cleaner, but this is a choice that comes with some pretty serious trade-offs.
Here's the thing you really got to understand about @apply. While it seems like a quick fix for messy HTML, you can accidentally bring back the very problems Tailwind was built to solve. You lose context. Now you have to jump over to a CSS file to see what .btn actually does. You're making your CSS file bigger, and pretty soon you're creating .btn secondary, .btn large, and you're right back where you started. The general advice is to use it very, very sparingly.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. We're at the final checkpoint on our map. Now it's time to figure out if Tailwind is the right destination for you and your next project.
So who is Tailwind really for? Well, it's probably a great fit for you if you want complete control over a custom design without having to fight a framework's opinions. It's also fantastic if you appreciate having a consistent design system. And it's especially powerful when you pair it with a component framework like React or Vue, because then you can encapsulate those long class strings inside reusable components and get the best of both worlds.
But look, it's not a silver bullet. You might want to consider something else if you just need to slam out a functional prototype as fast as possible. Something like Bootstrap might be quicker there. Or if you're still getting comfortable with CSS basics like Flexbox and Grid, Tailwind's low-level nature might feel a bit overwhelming. And if you're just using plain HTML, you can end up repeating yourself a lot. So at the end of the day, the question is for you. Where does Tailwind CSS fit on your developer roadmap? Is this a tool you're ready to pick up for your next project? Or is it a skill you want to add to your toolbox for the future? Really think about its strengths and how they line up with your personal goals.
This is Developer Roadmaps. Map your path, build your career.